Hi.
Hi.
So here we are live on Facebook. This is Compassion Speak. This is the amazing team of minister and chaplain and medical intuitive Sean Allison and spirit walker and glass artist Cleo Buchanan. Welcome.
It's an honor to be here.
So today we are talking about receiving.
Oh, yes, for givers, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I think as empaths, we all are stoked to give. We're stoked to heal somebody. We're stoked to share our energy. We're stoked to help somebody else. We're stoked to all of those things. We're so excited about that. And in many ways, I think we're engineered to do that. That we have core needs to nurture someone, to care for someone, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And to fulfill that need, the need to care for people, is a huge thing. But I think receiving can become a block to our ability to give. When people are wanting to also give to us and we continually close the door, we can lose their goodwill, actually, just from that. You walk around in the world thinking, no, I have the right to say no to anything I want to say no to. But the truth is, if somebody is lovingly and caringly trying to offer you something and you continually close the door on them, they're going to go. They're going to realize this is not working. They're going to boundaries can hurt,
Yes.
right? When we feel like we're protecting ourselves and we don't think it should be offensive to anybody, it can really hurt someone else.
That's a really good point. I'm thinking about the times when protecting myself actually creates a larger disconnection than a sense of belonging or companionship, right? That I can put so much energy into keeping you at a distance that I can never develop the intimacy that is also available in that moment.
Yeah, so true. So true. So let's talk about dependency and neediness. As empaths wanting to offer our light to other people, frequently, probably every human being has some sense of being dependent on somebody else or some sense of neediness or injury that's wanting attention and kindness and love and care. And if we have a lot of that or a history of that, we could be really scared to walk into receiving. We could be telling ourselves that this is our old pattern.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. One of the things that we talk about a lot at Compassion Speak is self-care first. And that can go on simultaneously as you are giving and gifting your talents and your time to others. So, in order for me to do that, coming at it from a place where I feel grounded in what my needs are, and that I have a sense that I'm giving to myself at the same time I'm giving to other people, really takes a lot of pressure off that sense of neediness, because I'm allowing the expression between you and I, that conversation, to nourish me in ways that I'm identifying as we are speaking.
Yeah. That is, when you say that, it's so simple. And when I think about it, it's so complicated. That is such a very high level understanding. I think that Um, when we practice doing energy work a lot, we can kind of see those energy patterns of exchange and how much energy am I keeping and how much energy I'm giving away. It's really hard to accept
Mm.
how delicate things are. You know, we have this understanding that what you do really is not what your life is about. It's how you do it.
Right? How you show up, that is your true purpose. It's not what you're doing, but how the enthusiasm, the passion, the excitement that you have inside can be gifted to that experience.
And also the independence, the leechiness. If we go at our giving with, you have to take this because otherwise I will be devastated,
Well,
right?
is that giving? I would say that that feels more like control. That unless you receive what I am offering you, then I am going to be uncomfortable.
Mhm. Yeah.
But if we sit in that place of discovery, of uncertainty, and allow for what is trying to happen between us in that beautiful space of surrender, then we can actually wait until each other have finished talking. And then in that moment, take that presence, that pause, and take that step and allow it to become that expression, that divine expression between us. Getting out of the way of what my needs are requires me to be okay with where my needs are.
Mm.
And as I step out, then I can start identifying how my needs are going to be met while I am reaching out and identifying and understanding your needs.
Yeah.
That it's something we work through together.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So this brings up a whole aspect of receiving that we have to be able to be quiet,
Darn it.
right? Right. Giving can be quiet, it can be violins, but it can also be trumpets, right? We can put all kinds of power and energy and stuff and all the stuff that we want. And so it's kind of it's more of a controlled experience, really. Giving is more of a controlled experience because I can put into it whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
But receiving, I have to get quiet. And so I have to be comfortable being quiet,
Vulnerable.
vulnerable. Yeah. And so so that's perfect. That's a perfect description. Vulnerability. It's a vulnerability. I mean,
Yeah.
partly there's you have to be comfortable with just quiet, even by yourself. Some people can't do that. Some
Right.
people can't go there.
Well, what if quiet began as being intrusive or abusive?
Mm.
What if that quiet was a punishment? It's going to take a little bit more experience and practice to make it safe, to fill it full of permission, to experience something that is unknown and that was not created until this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what you described about putting aside all our injuries and all our needs and even our catalog of somebody else's needs, being able to set all that aside so that there's quiet, so that we can actually truly hear what's being offered. How many times do we give back a gift right away because we think we know what it is and we're wrong?
Mhm.
How many times does somebody go, "Oh, here's this thing for you," and you go, "Oh, no, 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 I don't need that. I don't need that. Thank you so much. You're so kind. No, 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 I don't need that." And 10 minutes later, you're going, "Oh, wait a minute. It didn't have anything to do with this thing, it has to do with the connection, and I just refuse the connection.
Right.
Doesn't
That
have any, like with children, right? When a child offers you, "I made this for you," and it's 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 this thing that you can't even tell what it is. You have no idea. You have to ask, "What is this?"
That's actually a good place to be in, is asking, what is this?
Mm.
You have your way that it will function in your offering. I have my understanding of what it is, which may be not related to how you are offering it.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that I think about. First of all, it's our familiarity with that experience. Okay, we're receiving it from our history of it. That's
Mm.
different than receiving from the potential of what it can become or the direction it can take us into. So if I allow for that space to be well supported, so I have my needs on one side, I have my offerings on the other, and it's held in balance in that sweet spot of surrender, then I can explore what we can do with this time together, with the tools that we have to work with the limitations as well as the abilities that we bring to this moment.
It sounds impossible. I mean, honestly, like balancing all those things, it really, um I've been encouraged very much recently by the angels that I work with to meditate more in terms of silence, the kind of practice that you have talked about many times about embracing um, what John O'Donohue would describe as an experience of God, where
Mm,
it involves being vulnerable, being in the silence, being in that empty place where we're allowed to, where we're forced to face our own humanity and be comfortable in quietness, and where also we can finally, and perhaps for the first time, experience that the true nature of the universe actually is love, because when we surrender into that silence, and allow all those things to calm down inside of us, what emerges is immediately a natural experience of peace and love in
yeah,
a very, very deep way. And so all these, imagining that we can like grab onto our needs and yank them over here and put them down, and grab onto our fears of all this stuff and yank them over here and put them down. Like the idea that if we can go into that silence, all those things move by themselves.
yeah. And they find their place and they don't feel forced or rushed or out of sequence to what's trying to happen.
Yeah.
We realize that, oh, wait a minute, we were expecting to go in this direction and now we're going northwest instead.
Mhm.
One of the things that I really appreciate about this place of silence in this reception is the sense of permission just to be okay and not to have any agenda that's associated with past experiences, what I find to be familiar or comfortable. Rather, it's inside of me that I create this safety. I create this security, this sense of knowing that I'm going to be okay with what is trying to go on, what's trying to happen.
Mm.
And I do that by making subtle shifts in my reception. my receptivity,
Mhm.
and that surrender that, okay, well, I feel comfortable enough that I can lay my emotions down. I feel comfortable enough that I don't have to think about what I'm going to say while Cleo's talking.
Mm.
That what is supposed to happen in this space will naturally occur because I'm trusting it to happen. And that puts me in a place where I shift from my thoughts to my heart. And I'm coming at it from a place of belonging, of connection, of intimacy. See, our vulnerability is our strongest, it's going to be our strongest abilities. It's going to be our weakest moments. It's going to be that recognition that that is all part of who Sean is. And the gift that I am in the world is because I can offer that space for myself and for others to explore. It's well supported.
Yeah, that is amazing. What I'm hearing and what you're saying is almost like if you imagine a lake, looking at a lake, and you see the reflection, you see two landscapes. You see one landscape going up into the sky, and you see another landscape going down. And if sometimes you can see the lake underneath, and it looks like the landscape's going down into the water. And I think that when we're able before we're able to stand silence, connect with that sacred silence, whatever you want to call it, higher power, God, source energy, before we have faith that the universe could possibly be supportive, all of our experiences are like the reflection going down into the lake. They're upside down.
Hmm.
They have their own particular beauty, but we can't make progress. We can't grow in a positive direction because we're constantly expecting everything to fall apart, and everything that we build is created to protect us. So we build castles, we build fortresses, we build things that cannot allow us to come out and cannot allow others in, and so we cannot receive. And even our giving is not really what it could be. But when we have the trust that the universe is a good supportive thing, a good supportive companion, and um, that the silence is safe, that no one can really hurt us because they don't really mean to hurt us.
Hmm.
Even a jerk does not really mean to hurt us. They're telling their story. It's all about them.
That's hard to remember.
Very. But once we go to that understanding, however many times we have to remind ourselves, when we go to that understanding, suddenly everything that you're talking about is all connected. And it's like a natural image of trees reaching up and growing up, and every aspect of them is growing up and reaching higher
Oh,
instead
that's
of
beautiful.
instead of going
Well,
the other
and I
way.
want to address the going down of, the ripples in the lake and the upside down image, that those are vital components to reaching high, reaching wide, and embracing what is uncertain. We need the experience of what we have overcome, what we have learned from, and what takes us out. There are certain environmental conditions that I do not enter into because I don't have the skills to do that in a way that represents who I want to be in the world. So I stay away from those environments. And I think that's always a point of discovery, that what I used to engage in, I no longer do, because it makes me feel like a loss of vitality. And
Okay,
there's new
so give me an
experience.
example because I
Yeah.
think our listeners are going, what kind of environment is Sean describing?
I'm describing an environment where, let's say you're getting into an argument, and all it's designed to do, all the parameters around that is around debating to see who has the best story or the best
Mm.
facts. Um, there is no win-win situation. Whenever there is a win-lose, it is a loss for both parties. What I'm looking at is wanting to create experiences where within that exchange, there is a level of support and encouragement and a recognition of what is important from their perspective and bringing out their best. I benefit. I am blessed. So that's the type of environment that I'm wanting to create. And when the environmental conditions cannot sustain that, I hold off until that timing can support what I'm trying to do. When the tools and the people and my energy is at a level that can sustain it. If I cannot offer something in love, then I ought not offer it if love is my intention, because it's going to be received as though I'm trying to manipulate or control that experience. But when I can be in that love and express that love, my insecurities are not at the forefront. I'm not leading with my neediness, I'm leading with my wholeness.
Mhm. I remember you saying so wisely once that nothing could be resolved, no challenge could be resolved with the same energy that it was created with.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And I'm so reminded of that, that when and equally, how we do things, right? You can do the same thing, have the same words, have the same situation, the same people, the same time of day, and very subtle um, pieces of energy or emphasis can create a completely different experience. So, for example, leading with the neediness. If I go into the exact same scenario, leading with, this has to work because otherwise I'm worthless. Or if I go into this whole situation could be designed to be the healing for exactly that neediness. And so it can be really triggered to come
Yeah.
to the front. But if we take that exact same situation, scenario, people, time of day, offering, and we offer it in a very, very quiet, reserved, humble, I have this for you. If if you would take it, I would be honored.
Yeah. Or
Sometimes that
when you're
can be
ready.
that healing
Mhm.
that neediness was dying for.
Mm. Well, and what if that neediness is actually looking for the fuller expression?
Mm.
It's
You're
like,
you're light years ahead of me again. Keep going, keep going.
no, it's like it's recognizing that the trigger can function in two different ways. It can be a form of self-protection, or it could be a form of self-expression, self-exploration, potential. it moves us to the areas that are in need of our life force.
So
Those
you're saying like,
insecurities are looking for our embrace.
so you're saying like an act of vulnerability, allowing everybody to know, including yourself, this is what I need. This is what's here.
Well, that also, I think it's also to recognize your audience. Okay. Let's say that one of your friendships is really good at shutting you down, cutting you off, let's say dismissing what you're trying to do. I mean, they're really good at breaking down and separating. That should be done if you're trying to create something brand new from something that's concrete, right? Bring them in at the demolition phase of your project. But if you want someone to, if you're trying to create something that's brand new, you might want to go to someone who's a gifted architect, who understands what needs to be in place in order for the experience to move forward, or to have smaller transitions so that it's not such a big leap. Putting that pause in place of that neediness, let's say, can give us a minute to recognize that that is a vital, important part of what needs to be added to the experience. So that need, coupled with the other person's strength, becomes a moment in time when you give and receive at the same time. When you give and receive at the same time, it's my belief that it is a divine exchange. The God in you has been received in the God in me. And that full expression of that in breath and out breath becomes something that draws us into a deeper sense of union and understanding and appreciation.
I want to be like you. That's what I want. I want to be like you, Sean. I want to be in love with life like you are in love with life, and in love with the process like you are in love with the process. It is amazing.
Well, it takes a lot of practice, and sometimes my intentions are not loving, and I make big mistakes and have to live with those consequences too. But I think that our backup plan is in having a really good way of taking what has broken down and be able to come back with a lot more thought, a lot more meaning, and desire to build that connection where disconnection separated us.
Awesome. I think that that is a wrap.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for receiving and
Mm.
forgiving
Mm.
and for creating this space right alongside of Cleo and I.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sean.
My pleasure.